Hey guys, what's up? Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make this neat calling card. And if you want to download the project, you can by clicking the link in the description below. So without further ado, let's get started. Now, I'm going to work on just the center. I'm just going to show you guys how to make the center, because if you know how to make one, you practically know how to make the rest. The first thing I did was I wanted to know where the center was, just so I know that everything is straight and not tilted or anything like that. So I turned the title action card on. I just click on it and then it turns it on. So now I know where the center is at. For me to create this circle, what I did was I went up here and I clicked on my ellipse tool. And if you don't see the ellipse tool and you see like a square, just click and hold on, left click and hold on, and then look for your ellipse tool, and then just let go, and then you'll have your ellipse tool selected. So I went to the center and I just left click, drag. If you hit control, it'll open up from where you clicked. And if you hit shift, it'll scale equally. And then I just scaled it up to what I wanted, and I let go. Now the reason it's filled in is because you have fill but you don't have stroke. So all I have to do is just out click and then all the fill will go away. And then if I out click, I get the stroke. And you can play with the stroke up here. You can make it thicker, thinner, whatever you want. Once I made this outside, I wanted the center, so one of the first things you have to do is you have to click out, because if you stay in the shape layer, the shape will be created within this shape layer. So you have ellipse 1, then ellipse 2. So again, I click on the center, control, shift, and I'll make it about this big. And instead of stroke this time, I actually want fill. So I turn off the stroke and I turn on the fill. And now I have this little outline and then the circle in the center. Now for the line, I use the grid. So I clicked on my grid right here, just so I know that it's coming straight from the circle and it's coming from the center. And I use the pen tool. And again, you have to click out. And I clicked it right about here, just so I could get it straight. Then I went to this other point and I clicked about right here. So it's relatively straight. And if it's not straight, you can always move the point to whichever you want. So you just click and then drag, and then you can move it to however you want. Let me just get this point straight to the line. And now you have this straight line going up here. Now instead of a fill, you want to turn on the stroke. And now you have this line going up here. And you can make it, again, thicker or thinner, however you wish. And it's now connected to this circle. Now for this, it's actually one whole piece. And I did the same thing. I made my point here. I made my point here. Made my point here. Then up here. And I had this little football thing going on. So now you can see it. This is my top line. This is my straight line. And then these are my circle. In my pre-composition, if I clicked in, you can see both my circles. The inner circle, the outer circle, they're both in there. So now that I have this whole piece created, now I just have to animate it. And the way I did that was, I started off with the circle. And I started off first with the center, because I want the center to animate first. And then I want this to come in. So I had this start a little earlier, then I had this come in and kind of complete when this completed. And then again, they both disappear. And the way I did that was I just literally created a trim path. So I go up here where this little add function is at, and then I go to trim path. And now I have this option to play around with play around with when this starts and when this finishes. So it trims the path. So in the beginning, I'm at 100. My start is at 100 and my end is at 100. That means there's nothing there. So as I slowly start making my start less, this starts to appear. And it makes it look like it's animated because I'm untrimming it now. And then I come up here and then I start trimming my path. Trim all the way till it's 0. That's it. That's the only thing you have to animate. You make your keyframes, you make it how long as you want, and then you right click on your keyframes. You go to Keyframes Assistant, Easy Ease. So that way you can go into your speed graph, and you go to your speed graph by going right here, your graph editor. And you go down to this little icon right here. You go to speed graph. Sometimes it's on value, just make sure you're in your speed and not your value graph. And then you click on start, and this shows up. Now, to explain the speed graph, you have these little arcs here, and I kind of wanted this to start slow because I want this right here to start first. So it starts off slow, giving this time to show up, and then it peaks about right here. It just starts going really, really fast right here. And then you're done. Now, you can make it go a lot quicker, a lot earlier, just by getting these little anchors right here and then moving it to the left. So now I'm saying I want all the animation to start really, really early. Like right here early. So all my animation will be practically complete once I hit about right here. Because I'm done. I'm almost done with my animation. But it's a lot faster. It just starts in the beginning and then it slowly decays. So the animation gets a lot slower. This makes your animation a lot more lively rather than just going A-B at like a linear speed. Now you have this kind of like, it speeds up then slows down. It just feels more fluid. So using the speed graph is just very easy. You get these anchors and you push this to however you want it. Maybe you want it just like kind of a little bit down the middle. And wherever it peaks, you can just move it around. And the same thing here. This one was more just like I wanted it to kind of start up and then just kind of fade in a bit. I didn't really play around too much with it. You could tell like I just pushed it a little bit this way. Now for the inner circle, all I did was play with the scale. I didn't even have to add a trim path. I didn't have to do anything like that. I just needed to make it go from small to big. So from here you have scale 0, and then from right here you go to scale 75, and then I'm done. It just stays 75, and then when I'm about right here, I go from 75 all the way back to 0 to fade out. And again, I got my keyframes, right clicked, Keyframe Assistant, Easy Ease, or F9. So that way it's not linear and I can play with it in the speed graph. So I'm here. I go to my little icon right here, my graph editor. Click right here. Make sure you're in speed and not value. I click on the speed graph, clicked on my scale, and now I have this going on. And I did the same thing here. If you don't see these little anchors, just click on the scale and it'll show up. Because if you don't click on anything, it doesn't know what you're trying to edit. So you need to click on the scale. And then I click it one more time, and then my little anchors show up. And again, I wanted this to speed up. I wanted this to be the first thing to show up, the circle, the inner circle. So I have it sped up a lot in the beginning, and then it just slowly decays towards the end. And again, you can play with this. Just grab this little anchor and you can push this around. It's the wrong one. There we go. Now, for the lines, it's the same thing. Again, I go to my content, I go to my add, and then I can add a trim path. I start at 0, 0, which is the same thing as 100, 100. and then I slowly start increasing the end till it's at 100. And then from here, I go from end 100 all the way to end 0. And if I click right here and I go to my speed graph, I didn't really play with this a lot. I barely pushed this one. I did move this one a bit. And it just goes up, and then this one starts. So I go to my line top, and I go to my content. And again, I just go here, add, trim path. And in my trim path, I have a start and an end because I want this to start from the left and spread out, and from the right and spread out. So if I just stop my keyframe right now for end, you're gonna see that my starts from the left. So this animation is the left side. I go from 50 all the way to 0. And then from here I go from 0 all the way back to 50. So this is just the left side. And the end is the right side. So if I come back here and I unstop my start watch, you see that this is the right side right here. Just the right side. And I wanted to animate it in a way where the left and the right simultaneously animate. But I didn't want to make another shape layer. I could have just done it with one and just animate start and end. So 50% of the end, trim it, and then 50% of the start, trim it. So I'm at the center right here. Then I just want to untrim 50% from the center all the way up to the end, and then 50% from the center all the way to the start. That's all it is. And I'm pretty sure I did play a little bit with this, but I didn't play too much with it. As you can tell, this one right here, I didn't do anything. It's practically in the center. This one, I think I moved it a tiny bit. But I kind of left this one alone. Kind of look a bit fluid already. Now that's all for the whole lines and the circles. What's left now is the text. Have this little fade in and then fade out. So I go into my text. And I created a shape layer. And it's within this football. And all I had to do is just get the text to get into the box and it'll be visible. If the text is not in this box, it won't be visible because I set it up with alpha matte. So long that this text is in this box, you'll be able to see it. If this text is not inside this box, if this text is not in this box, you won't be able to see it. If I turn on my matte right now, alpha matte, you won't be able to see it until it's inside the box. Track matte. See? Until it's inside this box, then you'll be able to see it. If it's not inside the box, you can't see it. You do that just by making a shape layer, put it above the text, and then hit alpha matte. So now this becomes invisible, and it's kind of like a little mask. You can only see it once it's inside the box. The minute it goes out of the box, you cannot see it. And I just animated the position. And this one I did play with it because when a text just goes linear, it just doesn't look good. It just feels just so straight, so normal. It doesn't feel good. So I like to kind of speed it up and have it decay in and like pop in really fast and then just slowly finish off. And then same thing here. I kind of push this a little bit for exiting out. And that's it. That's how you can create calling cards. It's just making shapes, trim paths, and then having text fade in and jumping in and then jumping out, and you can do that with shape layers and using Alpha Matte. So it's just creating shape layers with your masking tools, with your shape tools, using trim paths, scaling, animating it, and you're done. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you dislike it, hit the dislike button. If you want to watch more, hit that subscribe button. And thank you for watching.